Good evening, everybody. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast on a Monday. That must mean it's time for your weekly Calamity Jane live stream. We're back again once more to talk about the lovely world of random geek stuff that whatever pops into our head while James animates a cartoon that we've been working on for a long time now, actually.
Yeah, a couple of years now, at least live stream wise. We've actually been working on this for a long time. Like when we
Yeah.
first started working back in WB days, man, they're in the news a lot these days too. It's kind of
Good
crazy.
Lord, it's sort of insane what's going on there. Oh my God.
Yeah. But anyways, anybody who's joining our stream, welcome. I mean, this is just like what Eric said. We just hang out and I do animation while Eric and I wax poetic about all
Sure.
kinds of random
Yeah, let's go with
stuff.
that. I love that one.
All right. So let me share my screen. I'll start
Alrighty.
animating, and I've already got topics to talk about
I
tonight.
can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Last week when we left off, I was animating Calamity Jane in this pose. And Tinsel kind of goading her to go, hey, we got stuff to do, kind of a thing. She's like, whoa, all kind of stuff. Are you sure? And Tinsel and her, the girls have a connection anyway. So they communicate, and Calamity, and this is a more writer's room note, but yes, they do communicate, and they know each other through Tinsel's revs and RPMs that she does as she drives.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, this week I'll be working on mouth packs for this particular pose, like a couple of different mouth flaps for her to say these lines. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing tonight. So I'll be kind of diving in deep to her face and adding some mouth pack stuff here.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. So you right before we started, you said you have topics and just was very oblique. And I'm ready to ready to learn what that means.
Well, I mean, first, I already, the very, very top, we talk about WB. That's a topic that I don't think we don't have to worry about. I mean, we can talk about that later. Okay, so this past week, the past 4 days, Metroid Prime 4 has been released. And I was kind of keeping an eye out because sometimes, Eric, when you're really into a game, you'll give me a quick text review about how you're blown away, or maybe you're frustrated with it. More or less blown away. You're more optimistic on this type of stuff than I am. I think I'd probably rant and be grumpy about games versus you. You're much more even keeled about stuff. I think. I mean, my opinion. This is my perspective.
Well, I will take it to heart as a compliment.
Yeah. So, but the silence was deafening for Metroid Prime 4. I didn't hear you. Like, I thought for sure we'd be hearing about stuff, and like I'd be having to jump out and go into the store and go get it. But as I've seen in just social media, random posts and stuff like that, it's a little bit more muted as far as the reviews are concerned. But the review that I'm concerned about, the one I really want to hear, is yours on where you're at with the game and how do you like it so far, or what? Now I'll shut up.
Okay. Well, I finished it. Got 100% of the items, beat the boss.
Wow.
It's not bad. I mean, it's a little bit shorter than Metroid Prime, the original. I think it takes me about 20-ish hours to do 100% Metroid Prime, and it took me about 15 hours to do Metroid Prime 4. When it's doing things right, it's excellent. The problem is it doesn't always do things right. And that's what it boils down to.
Okay.
I'd say if I had to put a review score, I'd say 3 out of 5. 3.5
Whoa.
out of 5. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So you and I are both Metroid fanboys for the most part.
Yeah.
But Metroid has had a troubled history.
I was just talking with that. Yeah, with the Metroid Dread, I thought was dreadful.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't mince words when it comes to Metroid. I think it's because we have such high expectations for the game, for Samus Aran and her adventures, that we just always want to see her have a perfect 10 for every game that she stars in.
Yeah.
That's a bummer to hear that. 3 out of 5 is very...
Well, 3.5 out of 5. It's...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It is... I think if it weren't for the fact that it's been 18 years since Metroid Prime 3 came out, and something like, 5-6 years since it was announced, maybe it would have been different. but given I just don't really honestly know how it could possibly have lived up to the expectations that have been built around it. Um, it does a lot of things right, um,
Mhm.
and it doesn't do anything bad. There's nothing bad about the game. I think the difficulty is probably a little bit too high.
Huh.
Um, and uh, sorry. Okay, there we go. I think the difficulty is probably a little bit too high. Some of the enemies really feel like bullet sponges. Some of the boss battles go on way too long. The final boss in particular was kind of obnoxious, especially the first phase where you are fighting with 5 NPC characters that you've collected over the course of the game, but they have
Okay.
HP, and if um, they are downed and you don't heal them, you lose the boss battle. Um,
Oh, you can't just sacrifice them. You can't just ignore them.
Right. You're sort of splitting the difference between attacking the boss and trying to heal your AI allies, who are not the dumbest AI allies I've encountered in a video game before, but not the
Okay.
smartest either. Um but the motorcycle is fun, but the desert, I mean, it drives great. It's super fun to play. And for a while it's enough. Just how fun the mechanics of the motorcycle are was enough to make zooming around the desert enjoyable. But you spend, I'd say, a third of the game in the desert in some capacity. There's no fast travel in the game, and so if you want to get to the different zones, you have to drive. There's no way around it, right? It's like Wind Waker philosophy. There wasn't, I mean, there were fast travels in Wind Waker, but only a couple. So the game was designed that you would need to use this bike. They didn't want to make it so that, oh, now that I have fast travel, I'll never use the bike again, right? But and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but there just wasn't enough content in the desert. Um, I've complained how lonely Breath of the Wild and feels in its giant overworld. The overworld here is a fraction of the size of Breath of the Wild, but it is as lonely, if not more so, than Breath of the Wild.
So
Um,
so let me throw this
Whoa, James.
counter at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
sorry. You're
I
like
mean,
really echoey all of a sudden. I'm sorry.
oh man.
Almost couldn't hear you there for a second. I can hear you now. It's just a little echoey.
Okay.
There you
Can you hear me?
go. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So, you know, all this stuff I'm pretty much nodding my head with it, but let's just for debate and for fun,
Mm-hmm.
let me give you a counter to this. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I agree with you on this, but the whole point of Samus is she's in a lonely environment all the time. She's
Sure.
always solo,
Sure.
always quiet. You're
Sure.
always having to be
Well,
just forced with you and her well, for the
I would argue
generally
that
speaking,
Metroid is not a quiet game.
okay,
You're
okay.
always shooting things,
Sure. No, yeah. I guess what I mean is like she's in her head. She has to analyze something. That's where, despite all the chaos that's going on around her, it's just her, and
Yeah.
she's got to figure out stuff and everything. I
Yeah.
guess that's what I meant. But
Well,
anyway, so
yeah.
that's the counter to the desert thing, right? Maybe.
Sure. And I can understand that thematically, but it doesn't make it lonely and kind of, stale by the end of the experience.
Mhm.
Again, it's fun such that there's content there, but there's not enough content to justify as much time as you spend in that space.
Hmm.
The the game is really linear, which isn't a positive or negative. It's just very different than how Metroid generally is structured. Um, and the weird thing is everybody was complaining about the characters, right, in the game. I mean, the writing is about on par for what you would expect for most video game writing. It's not great, but whatever. The voice acting is remarkably good. Most of the voice actors do a pretty good job with the words that they're given. Um, the problem actually isn't them; it's Samus. They do as much as they can to justify how they're responding to this character that refuses to speak, right? Um, even in situations where it would actually be easier for her to speak rather than for her to gesture. And the devs decided not just she just does not speak, even though another M she wouldn't shut up, right? Um in this game there are moments, I mean, I think the classic example for me is Master Chief. Is they balanced it perfectly. Master Chief is the definition of strong silent type, but he's not a mute, right? When he needs to speak, he speaks. And at least with this game, there were times where Samus needed to speak and she didn't speak, and the cinematic that I was watching became somewhat unintentionally funny, not because of the other characters, but because of the tortured approach that the devs took towards making Samus not speak, right? Um so, it the environments are very cool. All of the environments are very fun to look at. I'd say my only complaint is it clearly started development as a Switch 1 game. And I suspect that it had been built from the ground up for the Switch 2, it would have looked significantly different than the package that was delivered. Um, all that being said, it looks great. The art direction is phenomenal. The environments look distinct. Um, Tons of variety in the visuals, right? Samus's suits are awesome. The visual effects on everything are super cool. Um, so yeah, and I think ultimately it's a good game that other games that have taken this long to develop have not come out particularly good. Duke Nukem Forever, I think, is probably the classic example, right? Um, but given the time that they spent in development and the pedigree, it doesn't fully live up to the expectations, in my opinion.
Right, so here's a test. Can you hear my mic okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. I can't hear you through your mic, but
It's still
it's
fuzzy.
echoey, but it's I can hear you okay.
We'll live with it.
Yeah.
We'll live with it. So you were talking about the difficulty. So
Yeah.
Metroid's had difficulty before.
Yeah.
They had that. And think about the first one. And the difficulty spot. I mean, that's a pretty dang hard game. If you look at it, historic. From when it came out and everything. There's no
Right.
map. There's no luxuries, quality of life stuff. But you're saying that this game, I thought they would actually dumb this game down for a more modern audience, since we're kind of older and we're aging out, sort of, from what they want to hit,
I found it difficult, not impossible. I died more often than I wanted to. There were a couple of points where I died because I was forced into an escort situation and my AI ally died and I didn't heal them fast enough. And that, I think, is inexcusable. I don't think I should get a fail state because the AI didn't do a good enough job of surviving, but whatever. That's not an exclusive complaint to Metroid, you know. Um and the final boss I thought was uh too hard. But not like the hardest. It was easier when I remembered a particularly esoteric feature that you unlock right at the end of the game, and also the Samus amiibo, when you scan it, gives you a shield that you get once a day. And so when I remember those two things and use them, then I got through it pretty easy. And at the very least, they checkpoint each stage of the boss, so you don't have to fight the whole thing over again. Once you finish one, it checkpoints it, and then you can, you don't have to fight that part again. I think, one of the complaints that I have is they made an odd choice about the end game. Like, once you beat it, you save it, and it creates this locked save file, right? So you can't go back into the game. The only thing you can do is restart the game from that save file. But I don't know to what end, because your scans don't carry over, your items don't carry over, nothing carries over. And so there's no point in creating this, like, it's like when you do a save game and they create a lock save file because you're going to start a new game plus, right? Well, this doesn't. There's no new game plus in Metroid Prime 4, so it creates this lock save file and then doesn't do anything with it. And so I didn't realize that. I mean, I heard about it, reading about it on the internet, but I didn't fully understand what was going on. And I thought the scans carried over. So I went ahead and did the locked save file, relaunched it, and then realized that nothing carried over. And that was a bummer. It's just odd. Like, it didn't affect the actual game, right? But I don't understand why they have a locked save file if they don't do anything with it. I mean, maybe there's going to be some sort of DLC or expansion down the road that'll do something with that file, but I don't know. I didn't understand what the point of it was. Suffice it to say, it was enough that I was bummed out that I was going to start and just kind of play through the early game again, just so I had better context of what was going on from the first time that I played it. But when that happened, I'm like, I don't want to rescan everything, because one of my complaints, and this is a nitpick, it's not minor, but they increase the amount of time it takes to scan things, not by a huge amount, but it takes about 3.5, 4 seconds to scan a single object. And basically everything in the game is scannable. And you don't know which scannable things get added to your logbook and which don't get added, which are just like flavor text, or you have to scan it to activate a grapple hook, or you have to scan it to have your AI character open it or whatever. So the game is just awash with things to scan. It's not clear what scans are critical. And it takes 3.5 to 4 seconds to scan a single object. I love the scan visor from the original game. Like, I thought it was just such a brilliant feature. Really enjoyed it. I actually found myself by the end of the game wishing that there would be things. I just wanting it to stop scanning things. I got tired of the mechanic. It got so overused, and that combined with the increased scan time per object, it really kind of, by the end of the game, I was like, I'm fed up with this. So like I said, there's nothing overly, like, there's nothing egregiously horrible about the game. It's a competent game that's well made. I had a good time playing it. I'll probably play through it again at some point. You know, when I played Metroid Dread, I hated that game. I played that game. And I just played it to get to the ending and beat the final boss. I never 100%ed it. The second I beat it, I deleted it off of my Switch, right? I loathed that game. But Metroid Prime 4, I enjoyed it. It just, you know, that's about it. I enjoyed it, right? So 3.5 out of 5, basically.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking, I was gonna do a FOMO thing and I was gonna get the game myself, but based on, again, your silence and just the general reviews and the vibe I was getting from the game, it didn't look like I must go out and play the game. It's been, since the sequel, it's been like 10, 15, how long has it been now since Metroid Prime 3? 12 years, something like that?
18 years.
18 years from Prime 3.
Yeah, I think so.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I can wait another 6 months to play this game at this rate.
Yeah.
Based on what you told me and what I've seen, it does look beautiful. The environments I saw from the footage, but yeah, it's not enough for me to go and do a day, launch week purchase at this point.
I don't think so.
Playing.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be a launch week purchase. But I mean, yeah. I don't have, that's my review of Metroid Prime 4. It was good.
So another thing I was reading online, people were up in arms, and in this day and age with social media, people want to be angry for some reason. They're addicted to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were angry about the desert and how you couldn't, like, they locked out the music for it. You have to have an amiibo to do that.
Well, yeah, and again, like you said, it's a tempest in a teacup. It's nothing. It's a nothing burger. So Yes, if you have the motorbike amiibo and you scan it, it unlocks a radio feature, right?
A radio feature. Okay.
The the radio feature. Oh, I guess that is one thing that the lock save file does. It remembers that you scanned the amiibos. Anyway, um, I don't
Okay.
know what else it does. I think it remembers your gallery unlocks or something. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, but yeah, so you scan the amiibo, it unlocks the radio option, and the radio option has 3 tracks, and you get another 2 once you beat the game for the first time. So 5 tracks in total. Metroid has never really been known as having a melodic soundtrack, a soundtrack that you kind of hum along to, or that you want to be playing, want to be listening to while you're doing other things. It is environmental. It's designed to enhance the emotions and the themes of the environment that you're in, right? And there's a couple of good tunes in Metroid, but it's not like Mario or Legend of Zelda or Pokemon or basically any of other Nintendo's other franchises. And that's fine. But it's
And
no
then this
different
one,
here. It's no different here.
so for me, so I'll disagree. I disagree with you on this one.
Okay.
I love Metro Prime's soundtrack. I mean, I love Bryn Stars. I love Norfair
Sure.
soundtrack from Metroid Prime One. I've actually went online on YouTube to just find people that would put the tracks on so I can work to the music. That's how nerdy I can
Yeah.
get with these
I
tracks.
will
They're
grant
so
you.
good.
Yeah, Metroid Prime is
Yeah,
definitely an exception. It
yeah. And
had really
Metroid
great
1
music,
and
yeah.
Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Super
Um
Metroid, I can't remember any tracks off the top of my head, but for me, I've always associated like Zelda. It's not, you're right. I don't think it's as iconic, legendary as the Legend of Zelda's theme or Mario's. But Metroid, for me, as a fanboy, I've loved Metroids. Like that game is like number three on the list for me. Like I can actually hum Norfair right now and just go get all jazz and start
Yeah,
animating
yeah.
and working to it. I love that soundtrack. So that was a part for me looking forward to the next Metroid game to hear what tracks did they come up with, because I absolutely loved the Metroid
Yeah, the music is fine.
soundtracks.
It's definitely they're not trying to create any new melodies with this one. It's a lot more
Mm,
environmental.
okay.
And so I unlocked it obviously because I have the amiibo. I collect the amiibo, and I turn the songs on, listen to them a little bit, and then turn them off because they're not exclusive songs. They are songs that
Hmm.
play in other parts of the game,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And so like there's a viola theme which you hear in Volt Forge. There's the Volt Forge theme that you hear in Volt Forge, and then there's the theme for one of the bosses. And that's it. Those are the only 3 tracks that you have out of the gate. It's a nothing feature. And in a different world where we haven't been completely consumed by hatred or the pursuit of hatred, no one would care about this at all. It is a huge nothing burger.
So with you spending 1/3 of the time of your gameplay with it, I mean, it feels kind of sparse to just listen to wind or something like that. Just
Yeah,
off just
the sound effects are great, and frankly, and I can only speak for myself. I can't. I'm one of those guys. In every open world
Mhm.
game, I immediately turn off the music.
Okay.
I never listen to the music in open world games because it gets repetitive. And so I much prefer just the silence and just the environmental ambience of a big open world than I do having
Wow.
a track that, even if I really like it, is only going to be 3 minutes long, and then it's going to loop. And it's not like they do 12 different tracks for the open world. It's just the one, and I can only listen to that same 3-minute track so many times before I don't want to hear it again.
Wow, I had no idea. Like for me, I'm maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, but I want to know what the devs intended for me to listen to while playing this part of the game. So for me, I always leave it on.
Yeah,
I rarely, if ever, mute music, period, for any game. That's just for me because I want to know what the intention was when a dev said, "Okay, play MP3, Desert's theme here,"
right,
and
right,
I will suffer through it, even if it sucks. Because if it sucks, then I'll just turn the game off
right,
altogether.
right,
Because like it's an
right.
all or nothing thing for that. but that's yeah. But I mean, I know plenty of. I mean, that's new. I didn't know that you did that, but a lot of players I know they'll turn off music and they'll leave the sound effects on and they have their own jams playing in the
Yep,
background.
that's
I
what I
totally
do.
get that.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
The other
But
thing too is, generally speaking, while you spend a lot of time in the desert, it's in bursts. It's
okay.
from going to one location to another, or it's spending a burst of time collecting some of the collectibles that are in the environment, right? You're not at no point do you really need to spend hours upon hours in the desert. It really is, in a weird way, a loading screen, right?
Hmm.
It's not a loading screen, but it kind of feels that way, in that you're really utilizing it to get from one location to another. And I think that that's why it fails, is that it's not, the game is still Metroid. 2/3 of the game is still spent in these claustrophobic environments. Samus is completely alone. You encounter the NPCs occasionally, but not really that much. Except for like the last zone where you spent to go the
Mhm.
whole way with them, which was kind of annoying, but whatever. It was a minor complaint. It was a really good. The last area was a really cool set piece location. Lots of cool moments. It was super fun, but it did kind of betray the loneliness that Metroid is known for.
Mhm.
But yeah. So I don't know. Again, my review was, it was fun. Yeah.
And then how many hours you put into it? 10 hours,
But about 15
roughly.
to get through to
Okay.
100% the items. I only 93%ed the scans.
Okay.
And if I had
And then
obviously known that that was going to happen, I would have tried to get the last 7%, but whatever. That's life.
what about the issue with having to have an NPC handhold with you towards the beginning? Was it that big of a deal to you,
No.
or
You were
okay?
you were with that character. I mean, he's amazing. The more annoying aspect of that character is they turned him into Navi from
Oh
Ocarina of
wow.
Time,
Okay.
where
All right.
he involuntarily reminds you to go complete an objective, and you're like, yeah, I get it, you've told me this 4 times already, I don't need to hear it again, right?
Okay. All right.
But that intro sequence lasts approximately 5 minutes, and then
Okay.
you speak to that character once every couple of hours after that, when
Okay.
you have to unlock a new ability, right? It really is not, again, it's just another one of these internet tempest in a teapots or teacup, right? It's really a nothing burger. And
Hmm.
the amount of hatred that people just love to gin up about these things um is ridiculous to me. There are other things that you can be more critical of in that game than the NPC characters.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. It felt like that because it was days before the game was even released and people were just, I think, and again, it might be the nature of social media stuff because you need to have reactions because that's what gets you clicks and or
mm-hmm,
eyeballs. So
mm-hmm,
people want to see people emote stuff all the time.
mm-hmm.
But it just from what I gathered, I had a feeling it wasn't gonna be that big of a deal. It was just gonna be hand holding for a little bit and that was it. And for me, and again, maybe unpopular opinion, I love Navi. I thought Navi was so cool to have for Zelda Ocarina of Time. Because I mean, historically, again, that game introduced Zelda to 3D, and so why not have some hand holding and stuff like that? So the fact that
Sure,
you,
but this
yeah,
isn't, this isn't our first
I know,
rodeo. It's and
yeah, I
and with
know,
Navi, like, hey, listen, and then
yeah,
you have to press the button to listen to what she has to say, and you can just ignore the Navi button blinking if you want to. This,
yeah,
you don't have a
sure,
choice. He just comes on the horn and he talks to you and he says the same 3 lines of dialogue over and over
okay.
and over again, and it is way more annoying than Navi.
Oh man, yeah,
But again, it's an annoyance. It's not like a real problem with the game, right? Like,
hmm
my biggest complaints about the game are all annoyances. There's no single thing that was like, that was such a bad idea. The game is filled with good ideas, and when it works excellently. And it is like, yeah, you're capturing the magic of Metroid Prime again. But
hmm
they only managed to accomplish that feat 40% of the time. The rest of the time is just, yeah, this is fun, you know. So I don't know. I want to emphasize that I like the game. It's worth playing, right? But it's not a masterpiece, and that's okay too. Not everything has to be a masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
And there was just no way it was ever going to live up to the hype. It's just not possible. I have never known a movie or a game or a TV show that disappears for 18 to 20 years and then comes back and everybody's like, "Oh my god, they did it again." Right? I'm sure there's an example of that out there that I'm not thinking of, but generally speaking, that doesn't happen, right? And Metroid Prime 4 is no example. It's a fun, good game. If it were the first one in the series, I think people would be more impressed by it. But it's not the first in the series, and it's been almost 20 years since the last one came out. So, you know, it is what it is. So,
well, the good news is it's better than Other M and it's better than Dread. So that's already a positive right there.
I couldn't even finish Other M. I couldn't. Other M and Metroid Dread were both so bad. Like I couldn't. It's hard for me. I could go on and on and on about how bad those games were.
I'm surprised because normally you hit the eject button faster than I do when it comes to games. I still have not revisited Dread. I just never had any inkling to. I got to like one or two. What are those things called?
The ED robots.
Yeah. I got to like the third ED robot, and I got a little bit past it, and I just got bored. I was like, yeah, this isn't. I just did not. There's other games out there to play, and I did hit the eject button normally because. Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment, but for this case, though, you went through it all. I'd say, I was impressed you did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't 100% it. I just played it and beat it and moved on. But I did it because there were so many people talking about how brilliant it was, how it was like a return to form for Metroid, blah 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 blah, and like if you think it's too hard, you should just get good and that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, because I viscerally hated that game so much, I wanted my criticisms to be unimpeachable, basically.
Oh, because you wanted to say, yeah, I've already been through that. Done that.
Like, I did it.
Disagree.
Yeah, I did get good.
It still sucks.
Do it. It's still terrible.
It still sucks.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is part of the. This is a nice little transition to the next thing to bring up, but pretty much Dread was going through the whole Dark Souls. Let's make it hard kind of version of the game.
But the difference is that Dark Souls is done intelligently with like very particular design and whereas Metroid Dread was just it's hard because we want hard, right? There was no
for the sake of
finesse to it.
Yeah. So that's what's interesting now is like Nintendo. So I don't know if I read this right, but did Nintendo buy FromSoft last week or something like that?
No, they bought a division of Bandai Namco.
Bandai Namco. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know they're hand in hand then. Okay. All right.
Yeah, they bought their Singapore office, I think.
Okay. All right. So I was gonna say, like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. If they did
that would
but
be
I didn't get
wild if they purchased from software.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would mean.
Yeah, I don't know either what that would mean. Okay. Well, okay, so that put that to bed. I thought I read something about FromSoft. Just like, what? No. I'll talk to Eric and we'll talk games about it. I'm sure he would have seen something. Cool. Well, yeah, I'm gonna hold off on Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, it's worth playing. It's not a doorbuster. When you find it on Amazon, they have a sale on Amazon. Just pick it up then. You'll enjoy it. It's good. It's not a masterpiece.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll probably eventually I'll get around to that one. But this is another. Yeah, I think we've talked about this before too. But so far, just based on what we've seen with Switch 2, I'm still a little underwhelmed with what they've got. It's hard to beat Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild for your launch versus DK and now Metroid Prime 4. I mean, Donkey Kong you liked a lot. I know you
Yeah,
really
I really love
enjoyed that
Donkey Kong
game.
Bonanza. Yeah, really love that
Yeah,
game.
and then Mario Kart was supposed to be their third part of that. Well, that was a launch title, but I mean, I guess my impression is Mario Kart 8 is still the one to play
Oh yeah,
in
far and away.
general.
Yeah, I mean they
Yeah.
just did another patch last week, and slowly but surely they're finishing the game through patches, right? Like
Man.
they're adding features and they're actually changing track layouts.
Oh my
Um
gosh. Well, I mean, that's cool,
so
I guess,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
you know.
but it's pretty clear to me that they shipped an unfinished game. And I felt this way since the first time I played it. That they shipped a game that needed another year or 2 years to cook. Um and I think that they're doing it bit by bit now. They finally added in it's a bit of a workaround, but a means to actually easily unlock all the other NPC characters, which was a huge complaint of mine. They've gone
Mm,
back and on some of the more boring connective stretches between the different tracks. They've completely redesigned, I think, like 8 or 9 of those to make them more entertaining. They've made it easier to do free roam online with friends, although it's still again kind of a workaround and not really a designed feature. And it's absolutely insane to me that they don't support multiplayer in the open world. I just like it seems like that's the no-brainer. Like that is your key feature, right? Is multiplayer Mario Kart in an open world. That's bullet point number 1 on the back of the box. So the fact that that wasn't even a feature at launch and it's still kind of an exploit now is a definite sign to me that that game was half baked. But it is getting better with every update that they're doing. I've never actually seen them go back and redesign components of the game in an update. So it blows my mind a little bit. Um,
it is that based on feedback from consumers? Like they're yelling about the tracks and that's why they're redesigning them or
the
something? Or
people who make these games are very smart.
yeah.
I guarantee you they knew how boring those straightaways were too. And I think that there was a decision made by a bean counter or an executive that we have to ship Switch 2 with Mario Kart. And the devs were like, okay, well, here's where we're at. And
Uh-huh.
their accountant went, good enough. And that's what they did. And that's what it
Yeah.
strikes me. And then, surprise, surprise, there's a big blowback because they effectively released an unfinished game. And now they've probably been greenlit by the higher ups to go back and continue working on it to bring it up to what the expectations were for it, right? That would be my speculation. That's my speculation, at least. Um,
It's it's weird because, I always associate Nintendo. Remember the whole, and this is again propaganda of sorts, but Nintendo had that seal of quality. And
right,
you knew a
right.
first party Nintendo game would have a Nintendo brand seal of quality. You knew it was going to be a really well polished game, you know? And I feel like they've lost that little piece of their DNA has been eroded or something, you know?
Well, as we've talked about, I mean, and I'm not the only person. We're not the only people who have talked about this. Everybody kind of feels that Nintendo is in their new villain era,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As I
right?
as I said before, like with WWE, they've definitely turned
They've
heel.
done a heel turn. Yeah, there's no question about it.
The difference
Um,
is though, when they've done heel before, like I consider them a heel, their heel phase when they were N64
mhm,
as well. But those cards, all the games were always still top
mhm,
notch. Like they were
mhm.
always good. Even like they had they were like Sith Mastery evil with their stuff. They were still so good. Now it's like they're just kind of like bumbling fool idiots a little bit, it feels like. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Mario Kart World was definitely a miss. Donkey Kong Bonanza was an absolute hit for me.
mhm,
Kirby Air
mhm.
Riders was maybe my biggest surprise of the year. How much I enjoyed that game. Um, Metroid Prime 4 was good, but frankly, I wasn't expecting a masterpiece, so it kind of met what my expectations
Mhm,
were, right?
mhm, mhm.
Um, you know, and then they've done a few experiments with like drag drive and things of that nature. Um, I don't know, like as far as villain eras are concerned, this is not the worst I've seen them get with their
Yeah,
nonsense. And they've
yeah.
always, you know, I mean, in the past, I don't know anything about the new people who are running it, but in the past, they've been smart enough to realize how far they can push consumers before consumers start, you know, crying foul. And so hopefully they'll come to their, you know, they'll come to that realization again and course correct like they've done in the past. But who knows? I mean, we live in the darkest timeline. There's no telling what's in store for anything anymore. I've stopped trying to predict the future. I mean, not that I was ever right in the first place, but you know.
It is interesting, worth noting here too, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm wrong plenty of times, but during the Switch One era, I rarely, if ever, saw a Switch One go on sale, right?
Right.
They always are retail. Nintendo was pretty persnickety about always charging their price. What was it, 299, 99, whatever it was.
Yeah.
All those for the past 8 years, like that. Within 6 months, now we're at 6 months roughly, whatever, of Switch 2. I saw them lop off $50 on Walmart.com, Target.com, Best Buy during Black Friday weekend. And to me, that's unheard of. Like the only time Nintendo does that
Well, that
is
wouldn't have
if
been a
they're
Nintendo thing. Like Nintendo
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
done
It's
that
a retail.
sale.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
retailers are doing it.
Right.
Meaning like, hey, we can't move these.
Right.
Let's do this.
Right.
That's to me a kind of a bad sign. But I don't know because retail's never had to do that. Like except for if I remember correctly, Wii U and maybe 3DS. I think those were kind of
The original form factor of the 3DS, yeah. But then when Nintendo
yeah.
did that refactor, it really exploded. Yeah, but yeah, the
Hmm,
Wii
hmm.
U was a miss. There's no question about it.
So it's just intriguing to watch them. We're not even 1 year's past, and they're doing this with and retailers. You're right. It's not Nintendo. Retailers are lopping off cash, like off of the system. I just found it interesting, is all. Um, I don't know. We'll see where this all goes, but like I've even seen blurbs where PS5 is still outselling the Switch 2 for this season right now, which is
Hmm.
again a 6 year old at this point, almost 6 year old system is outselling the new flavor of the month for the year.
I
I don't
don't remember
know.
when the PS5 came out actually, but I don't think it was quite 6 years, but yeah, it's at least five.
Because I would associate PS5 with 2020 with COVID
Right.
because people are trying to grab it. So I'm kind of rounding up to like we're almost done with this year. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we're on
yeah.
year 6, but
I
it's
see what
been
you're saying.
either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Even if it's 5, it's still been out 5 years, and they've
Right,
had
right.
two or three iterations. They've had the Slim, they've had the Pro.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyways, but whatever. I just find it interesting, again, looking back in time and watching some history rhyme with some of the other consoles they've done, makes me wonder where the Switch 2 will ultimately end up in the next year. I'm very curious
Well,
about that.
the other thing that's kind of going on right now is, I mean, the economy, the global economy
Mm,
is in
yeah.
absolute shambles, particularly our country. You know, we've got a few literally insane people doing immense damage to everything.
Hmm.
Um, and so who the hell knows, right? I mean, we could wake up
Yeah.
tomorrow and that lunatic could, you know, have 150% tariff for reasons that no one understands, you know?
Yeah. Because his feelings
Um,
were hurt about something or
right. He
whatever.
saw a
Yeah.
commercial, right? Or he was eating ramen and it burned his tongue or something. I don't know. I mean, it's just, you know, it's not that he would ever eat ramen, but um um
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah. There's a lot of different variables
yeah.
already in play for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So who knows? I mean, I'm going to continue to enjoy video games
mhm.
as for as long as they make games I want to play. And and that's about the only power I have, you know.
Sure. Gamers
Yeah.
are gonna still game no matter
Yeah.
what. We'll find ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, with that said, I think we're in a pretty good spot to call it good for tonight. I've made the mouth pack for Calamity for the most part here, so she
Great.
can talk about.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, this thing I gotta give her a little bit of a surgical removal for this chin, but
Uh-huh.
other than that,
Mm-hmm.
she can pretty much talk all she wants now. So we got that going on. So we're in pretty good shape for tonight for our goal.
Excellent, excellent. And now you can use that pose as much as you want, at least
Yes,
for speaking.
yes.
So that's great. That's awesome. Okay,
That's
cool.
part of the plan.
Well, we'll leave it there for the night. If you're watching this, why don't you consider heading on over to calamityjane.rocks. That'll take you to our Patreon site. You can consider becoming a subscriber and helping us make this cartoon a reality. You've also already found us on Facebook and YouTube, so I don't need to go into that. If you want to follow us on Instagram as well, we're at Calamity Jane Salamander. It's just another place for us to post updates. And yeah, so if you want to follow us there, it's just another place for you to see more updates about what we've been doing on the cartoon. In the meantime, let me check my calendar here. Yeah, I don't think I have anything going on next week. I should be around, so we're getting close to the Christmas season, which is why I need to like do these checks. But I think next week we're still good to go for the stream if you are, James.
We should be, and hopefully I'll get my mic fixed.
Oh, it's working right now. Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course, as we wrap up.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, I'll see you next week for sure.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we'll call it there. Good night, everybody, and stay safe out there.
Good night.